So just got some more nonsense delivered to me from my mentally ill brother, making up more lies and more insanity, blaming me that he is a known felon and a screw up who caused my father a lot of pain, and he's trying to do the same BS. He's telling me that I damaged the house that I've been fixing, that I've been paying the mortgage at. He hasn't lived here. My father was too sick to go after the last assault on my father in 2019, which was in September. Okay, my father was too sick to actually be in a courtroom to do the official eviction. Okay, and Andreas has not lived here since 2013. And there was a pandemic, so we couldn't go. And I'm very occupied with taking my father back and forth to treatments during a pandemic. So apparently he's able to get away with saying all these lies. And, you know, obviously, Andreas seems to think that I have over the legal limit of marijuana plants, but no, I have less than 5, and they are not even mature, and I am a cannabis card holding medical marijuana patient with a license to do that. Okay, he's saying all these kinds of things. They're trying to forcibly vacate me from his home, that I'm harassing him by asking for help on social media and making a diary of my life. And this is the honest to God's truth. My brother was abusive to my dad, and my dad kicked him out of here. And those are all public records, and all the entire police department knows this. And it's a form of his mental illness, and it's a sick thing to do to your own brother and to your father, and to your brother who's still mourning the loss of his father. He's blaming me that he can't find a job. He's blaming me and accusing me of all these things. And the humiliating thing is to have been forcibly vacated from my home by the police, which is this is my legal residence. This is where I live, because he was able to pull off using his driver's license fraudulently, which he did not update with 10 days. And he was living at 241 Osborne Road in Fishkill, has not been living here. Okay, and so this is another form of harassment. I'm working here, and I have to deal with this nonsense. I never stabbed him. He actually stabbed me. And this is what a narcissist does. He makes up more lies and saying that his equipment is damaged and that his stuff is missing. It's complete nonsense. None of his stuff is damaged. None of his stuff is missing. Okay. And the damage here was caused by an F2 tornado that hit that tree and knocked out a lot of the power and put holes in the roof. Okay. None of his stuff is damaged. As a matter of fact, his electrical equipment is still here and intact and moved away from a wall that is filled with mold. Okay? This wall gets water, gets flooded with mold, and here's his electrical equipment. Okay? His electrical equipment is right here, and his stuff that's in boxes is not damaged at all. This is my father's creative space. He had never had any permission to put any of his stuff in here. His electrical stuff is still in there. And this is the kind of bullshit that a mentally ill person does, who feels that he's the victim and somehow entitled to stay here, yet he's never paid for a single bill here. He's never paid the mortgage. My wife and I have paid all the mortgages and all the taxes, okay? And if he is awarded any portion, it'll be far, far less than he thinks it is, because the equity is so little, and I've been paying the mortgage and all the taxes, doing all the repairs and the bills, okay? His other stuff happens to be right here, okay? And it's all in sealed boxes. It's all nicely covered up and protected. And it's all mostly clothes and toys that he paid for with my dad's credit card that he stole and went to California with, okay, when my dad kicked him out in 2009, okay? Then he refused to leave. He got in more trouble, was on felony probation for 5 years. And, you know, that's the truth. And so this is the kind of sick thing that someone like this does, saying that I'm harassing him, that has no right to be home, that is his address. That's complete bullshit. And everybody knows that he doesn't live here. It's complete nonsense. And this is the kind of things that's upsetting, and I'm trying not to let it ruin my weekend or upset me any further. He was a homeless person, and we tried to do the right thing and be nice to him and supportive. And because my dad was too sick with cancer and there was a pandemic, couldn't go to do the official eviction. That doesn't mean that he still lives here. And so this is just terribly upsetting, you know. So I hope he gets the help he needs, and he realizes that he's never paid for anything ever. He cost my dad his life savings, and any type of reputation that he has of being a convicted violent felon, it's his own fault. He did that, and everybody knows that Andreas is the one who does not live here and who's the one who's being abusive and who was abusive to my dad. And there's so much records to prove it. There's so much evidence. There's so many police reports of him being thrown out of here for assaulting my dad. But that little tiny piece of paper that says he wasn't officially evicted wasn't able to be done because there was a pandemic and my dad had a very compromised immune system, couldn't be dragged in and out of court repeatedly. So my brother was forced to leave and hasn't lived here since. Yet seems to think he can bully his way in here and try to kick me out of here and somehow claim that this is his residence, and it's not. And as the whole world has seen, the will that my father wrote were his last wishes, as you can see in the video. That was his handwriting. He wrote that in front of my wife and I while we were on the phone with Debbie Bell and Pete O'Connell, his best friends, who were also witness to that. And because my dad had a compromised immune system, it was a pandemic, we couldn't get it notarized in time. So apparently now it's going to probate. But to send, again, another of these lies claiming that I damaged my house, that there's drug paraphernalia all over the place. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just ridiculous. He's saying that my social media is making false claims. He was in a nursing home because while I was working in the city and being independent and being an adult and having a big boy job, Andreas was on 5 years, pretty much house arrest, felony probation for vehicular assault, okay, that he was charged and found guilty of. And that what that did is it pushed my dad into having multiple myeloma, okay, 2 years after he retired, and into a nursing home, which my father had requested I exit him from the nursing home to take care of him. So these are all true. This is not lies. It's so sick to say that I'm causing damage to the home. I'm the one fixing this, and you can see that on all of my YouTube channels. And you know what? This is a public diary. This is my life. It's freedom of speech. I've not made any threatening statements whatsoever. Okay? This is a painful reality, and more people need to know the actual truth of my family situation, lest my brother make up some more really awful and mean things about my wife and I. Okay? He said some horrible things about my wife and I that are not true also, and he continues to do so, and that's harassment. This is harassment by some kind of illegal manipulation, and that's what that is. Okay? So I really feel that, like, my attorneys advised me of going public with this because it is sick and it's sadistic to do something like this. None of his stuff is damaged, and he doesn't live here, and he hasn't. Okay, and there's no proof that he's paid any utility bills whatsoever either. So how he's able to still have the driver's license not been updated, especially since it was known that he lived on 241 Osborne Road since 2013, is beyond me. It truly is. The truth shall set you free, and God knows the truth. God really knows the truth. My brother's mentally ill, and he's sick. And instead of mourning the death of my father, he wants to continue taking and taking and taking. Okay? So